Welcome to this tutorial video for Microsoft Excel 2019, customizing columns, rows, and cells. Those who use Microsoft Excel typically need their spreadsheets to look a very specific way. This video is designed to help you format the columns, rows, and cells in your spreadsheets to better fit your purposes. Specifically, after watching this video, you'll be able to change the column width and row height. You'll also be able to insert and delete columns and rows. You'll also be able to change the data alignment, color, and style within your cells. And finally, you'll be able to format the cell borders and fills. So let's begin with customizing columns in your spreadsheets. Sometimes the amount of data you need to enter into a cell will not fit into the default width of the column. Therefore, you will need to modify the column width. As you can see here in this sample spreadsheet, the column isn't wide enough to be able to read the text or the data inside of the columns. So in order to increase the column width, I simply need to hover my mouse on the column line in the heading row and click, hold, and drag out to the right, and then release my mouse button. The column width is then increased to a size where I can read the data that's in the cells. Sometimes as you're working with spreadsheets, you may also need to add columns or delete columns. If you need to insert a column, you'll select the column to the right of where you want your new column by clicking on the column heading letter. So, for example, if I need to insert a column in between columns A and B, I'm going to click on the B, and that's going to select that entire column. Then on my Home tab, I'll go over to the right and click Insert. And Microsoft Excel inserts an empty column for me. If I need to delete a column that I no longer need, I'll select the column by clicking the column heading letter. So if I decide I no longer need column B, I can click on the B to select that entire column, then go up to the Home tab and click on Delete. Then Microsoft Excel deletes the column I have selected. Much like columns, you can customize rows in the same way. If you'd like to increase the height of your rows, you simply need to hover your mouse over the row line in the row heading. So for example, if I want to increase the height of row 2, I'll hover my mouse on the line between the 2 and the 3. I'll take my mouse and click, hold, and drag down, and then release the mouse button, and you can see that the row height has greatly increased. If you'd like to add or delete rows, you can do that very similarly to the way we did the columns. If you'd like to add a row to your spreadsheet, you need to select the row below where you want your new row by clicking on the number in the header row. So for example, if I would like to insert a row between rows 3 and 4, I'm going to click on the 4 to select that row, and then on my Home tab, go over to the right and click on Insert. And Microsoft Excel inserts a blank row for me. If I decide I need to delete a row, I simply need to select that row by clicking on the number in the row header. So if I decide I no longer want row 6, I'll click on the 6 to select that row. Then on my Home tab, I'll go over to the right and click Delete. Then Microsoft Excel deletes that row for me. In addition to customizing columns and rows, you can also customize the cells in several different ways. Depending on the type of data you're entering into each cell, you may want to format it with a different color or style or alignment. So let's talk about color first. In order to modify the color of data within a cell, you simply need to click on the cell that contains the data that you want to change. Then, on the Home tab, you'll need to find the Font Color selector. It looks like a capital A with a red line underneath it. If you click on the down arrow to the right of that A, it brings down a drop-down menu with all different colors that you can use. You simply need to click on the box of the color that you want to choose, and Microsoft Excel will change the color in the cell you have selected. You can also do this with multiple cells at a time. If I decide I want to change the data within the cells of multiple cells, I can click, hold, and drag to the right or left, or up and down to select multiple cells to change. Then go up to the font color selector, click on the down arrow, and click on the color I want to use. You can also modify the style within a cell. Style is making the text or the data that you have within the cell either bold, italicized, or underlined. In order to do that, simply click on the cell that contains the data that you want to change, and then on your Home tab, you can click on the B, the I, or the U. B stands for bold, I stands for italic, and then the U stands for underlined. You can even click a combination of them. So I could make this cell bold and italics. If I click on those and I decide I don't really like that, you can click on those again and it will take that style off. And then it goes back to the way you had it. You can also modify the data alignment within a cell. As you can see in column A, the data is aligned to the left side of the cell. If I decide I want to center this data or align it to the right side of the cell, I can do that with just a couple of clicks of my mouse. I simply need to select the cell that contains the data I want to change, and then on the Home tab, there's a left alignment, a center, and a right. I just simply need to click on the one I want to use. And Microsoft Excel changes it for me. And of course, if I don't like it, I can always click one of the other alignment buttons to change it back. In addition to formatting the data within cells, you can also format the cells themselves with borders or fills. Borders are the lines that surround a cell, and a fill is the background color of a cell. You'll notice that when you're working in your spreadsheets, you'll see faint gray lines that indicate the borders of the cell. These particular lines, if you're going to print your spreadsheet, will not print. So if you want to make those lines darker, or you want the actual lines to print when you print your spreadsheets, you need to apply borders to your cells. So in order to do that, you simply click on the cell that has the border you want to change, and then on your Home tab, go up to the Border Selection menu. It looks like a 4-paned window. If you click on the right side, the down arrow will bring down a list of all different kinds of borders you can choose from. You just need to click the one that you would like to use. Now you can see a difference. This particular cell has a dark black line as opposed to a faint gray line. You can also select multiple cells to apply borders to at one time. You can click, hold, and drag to highlight the cells, go up to your border selector menu, and click all borders, and it will apply dark borders to all those cells you had highlighted. You can also change the fill of a cell, which is the background color of the cell. In order to do that, you simply need to click on the cell that contains the fill you want to change, and then click on the arrow next to the Fill Selector menu. The Fill Selector looks like a paint can with a yellow line underneath it. If you click on the down arrow to the right of that paint can, it brings a drop-down menu down with different colors you can choose from. You simply need to click on the color that you want to use, and it will put the background color in for you. Changing the data color and the fill color of cells helps you to color code things. Everything covered in this video are just a few of the ways that you can customize cells, rows, and columns in Microsoft Excel. Hopefully by watching this video, you now have a few more tools that will make Microsoft Excel a bit more useful for you. Keep practicing, and good luck.